Good morning. Welcome to Rise Up. I'm your host, Lee Andrew, where I help you get your day started right and inspire you to reach new heights. Today's show is about everything is energy, but why don't we use it to heal? I have with me today a special guest, Shannon from SLS Holistics. She's an emotion code practitioner and a Reiki practitioner, and I've invited her on the show today for a couple of reasons. First, I want to share with her expertise on how is energy both trapped and released in the body. And secondly, is to use my platform to create an open and honest conversation about the stigmas and fear around energy modalities. It's just not thought about enough. Mm-hmm. So my desire is for people to feel just as comfortable to say, I'm going to an emotion code session, or I'm going to my Psych-K session, just as they were going to say, I'm going to go to my chiropractor, my dentist, my doctor. I want it to be that normal. So that's what my intention is for today, is for you to get there in your heart. So now, I know firsthand these modalities are transformative, and they have lots of research and peer studies to prove it. But Shannon, why do you think people are more comfortable seeking medical and pharmaceutical help for their healing?
Oh, well, first, thank you so much for having me on today. I really appreciate it.
Welcome.
But I think, actually, let's get into it. It starts back in the early 1900s with this thing called the Flexner Report. So Carnegie and Rockefeller, who we all know those names, philanthropists, rich men, they had a lot of interest in how the medical schools were developing. That is because Carnegie owned patents to drugs, and Rockefeller had the petroleum that those drugs were based on. So they paid this guy Flexner to basically go out and find the schools and the hospitals that were prescribing the drugs. And then they started giving money to those schools and those hospitals. Beforehand, osteopathy, homeopathy, energy healing, chiropractic was on an equal level to those medical schools, or they were even part of the medical schools. But what happened after this report came out is now all of a sudden those seem to be woo-woo or not true or old wives' tales or witchy, whatever you want to call it. And so we lost respect for all the ways that we can heal, and now we have put the emphasis on you have to take a pill when you feel bad. But the pill doesn't heal you, the pill just suppresses the symptoms.
Right.
Yeah.
Hides the root cause.
It hides the root cause. And a lot of times the root cause is at the energetic level.
Oh my gosh. You just blew my mind right now. I didn't even know that this was already taught. These were modalities that were in our everyday normal life. So now I just totally want to go back to that. We need flashbacks in our lives.
Right.
And get back to these good old remedies and knowledge.
Yeah.
And I'm sure Carnegie and Rockefeller, they were businessmen. They probably thought, wow, I get to make some money and help people. I don't want to think that they were trying to let's make all these people even more sick. But now we can fast forward to this day and age and realize it wasn't maybe the true answer for everything.
It's not, But here's, I don't want to diss on the medical profession at all. I don't want to say Western
include it, right?
Yeah, include it. I think these practices need to marry together. If I break my arm, please take me to the emergency room. I don't want a Reiki practitioner right then. I want a surgeon and I want painkillers, and then I want the Reiki practitioner to come in to promote healthy bone and tissue growth, to reduce those pain levels in a more natural way.
Well, you shed a lot of light on why it has changed over time, for us even to have access to the knowledge and how the school system and media really can shift the attention and really implement the way things are going. And I can tie that back to programming. I know personally I didn't seek any of these modalities myself until recently, and now a facilitator of one, because I was taught that those things were evil or just scary, that you're going to submit yourself to somebody where this other entity might come during that, because you're dealing with energy. And energy must mean this other dimension, And so I think a lot of it's about programming. And as a Psych-K facilitator, I'm trained now to find all kinds of programming. So we're programmed to believe that it's not so beneficial. Trust the wise doctor.
And they do have a lot of knowledge, but they have a lot of knowledge on illness and not always a lot of knowledge on wellness. And there's a lot of ways that we can make ourselves well without having to pump ourselves full of medication
that are synthetic.
That are synthetic and, originally based on petroleum. I don't think any human really wants to think about like guzzling gas into their body.
No way.
But, yeah, and I think I have this weird sort of balance or dichotomy about it because I grew up in a family with chiropractors. And so I was exposed at a young age, in my dad's car. I was in the back seat. He was listening to Tony Robbins and Wayne Dyer and Esther Hicks and Louise Hay. So all these people who are talking about the law of attraction and things like that. But then you have society at work, and I thought, well, I have to be a certain way. I have to look a certain way. I have to show up in a certain way. And the more and more I tried to do that, instead of following where my heart was leading me and trying to people please or be like, oh, I'm from a family of people who help others, so I have to find a job doing that. And I do have a job doing that, but it took me in a different way. And so it caused a lot of anxiety in me, but I wasn't, at that time you didn't go to therapy, and I remember it was a huge stigma, and you didn't do any of those things. I literally ran away to another country for like 3 years to get out of this programming I thought I had to live in. And I went to Japan and I taught English, and it was awesome. And I had the ability to make mistakes there because I was like, oh, you're a foreigner, you don't know this culture, of course you're going to screw up. And not that I was trying to screw up and not that I was trying to offend anybody, but I was like, oh my God, yeah, I am going to screw up. And yay, I'm like not going to be punished for it.
It really undone a lot of your perfectionism.
It did, but then I came home and then I started it again. And I went into having anxiety attacks, and I went into having chronic migraines, and I went into all this stuff. But my blood work was fine. There was nothing physically wrong in my body. Well, then why am I having that? It goes back to that energetic root.
Yes.
I deal a lot with trapped emotions in people. So basically, well, first of all, do you have any questions? I feel like I just rambled there.
Well, yeah, go into what you do, because energy, we all know, is from our feelings, emotions. Other people can project onto us, and experiences all contain energy. Everything's energy, right?
Everything's moving.
And how you said your anxiety, your stress got trapped, and you're an emotion code practitioner and Reiki. So how does it get trapped in the body, and how do you let it go and flow out of there?
Well, so the example I like to give is when I was younger and I was having feelings of anger, I was immediately told, you're not allowed to feel that way. I was a child, of course I'm going to feel angry, but I wasn't allowed to feel that way. You have a roof over your head, you have food in your belly, you have My Little Pony toys, you better stop that, you know? And so that anger that was coming out and being processed and released didn't have a place to go. So where does it go? A trapped emotion is what it becomes. And it's about the size of your fist, and it's just this little ball of energy that gets stuck in your body somewhere. It can get, stuck in an organ. It can get stuck in your muscles. It can get stuck in your big toe. It doesn't matter where it goes, but it's stuck there. And now it's interrupting the way that your body works, and it interrupts your healing abilities. We all have the ability to heal. How do we get back to that, to allow our bodies to heal themselves?
You have to give your body the conditions to work the way it was designed.
Yes.
And so how does emotion code, what does that process look like, or Reiki? If you were to come to a session with you, what does that look like?
So let's talk about emotion code for a second. We actually use the subconscious mind. We muscle test to ask your subconscious mind what emotions are causing a problem. A lot of time people are coming to me as a last-ditch effort because they're taking the medication and it's not helping. Their doctors are saying their tests look fine, but they feel sick and they don't know why. So, trapped emotions. We're finally getting to the root cause. So we're doing muscle testing, finding the trapped emotions, and then we're releasing them in a very simple way using the governing meridians, using the energy flow of our body, so that we can tell the body, we don't need to hold on to this anymore. And I've had people experience chronic pain they've had for decades, and then all of a sudden, even just after one session, that chronic pain doesn't show up for a long time.
Yeah.
You know, it might come back. It just means there's more work to do. But
more levels.
Yeah, but for the first time in years, they're actually feeling relief.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I know, like even in Psyche, when we're dealing with programs, that the subconscious is running everything, even the body, right? It's telling your heart to beat right now.
Yeah.
And people working on a belief that they're not worthy has released them of a headache they've had for years.
Yeah.
So it shows that some thoughts are emotions, which are energy,
it's all
get trapped. And this is like the biggest life hack, guys. You want a fast relief that doesn't take years and copays upon copays. This is something to look into. So I've seen, and I've also had emotion code done. So I know there's magnets involved. And we kind of talked before the show that energy travels on a lot of things. Sound, like the sound of my voice right now, can make people find a certain energy in me, right?
Yeah.
A tone.
Yep.
Music.
Yep.
There's different things, and you guys use magnets, right?
We use magnets. We have a magnetic field. Every single person has that magnetic field. We actually want to have it. It keeps us healthy. So we use magnets to help heal the body in that way. It sounds funny and it sounds too simple, but that is how it works. It can be very simple, and I don't think we always give ourselves permission to let it be simple.
To be easy. Like, where did that programming come from, that things had to be hard? No pain, no gain.
I don't know. Yeah, I'm not a fan.
That's not helping us at all.
Yeah.
So it sounds like basically you got into this work because of your own need.
Because of my own need.
I find that's a lot of times with healers. They're sick or have ailments themselves.
Yeah.
Or we let our mess be our message.
Yeah.
So
That's true.
Share anything else that you think the listeners might want to know, because I know we've also talked about how even doctors are starting to open up to different modalities. What do you want to share about that?
They really are. So I think the one that's in the news a lot right now is Dr. Gabor Mate. His newest book is called The Myth of Normal, I believe is what it's called. And he was a big pill prescriber. He'll tell you that. He's a medical doctor. And he was like, I never asked people what their childhood was like. I never asked people what sort of trauma they went through. I never asked people to talk about that and get those things released from the body in order to help them heal. The Body Keeps the Score is another really important book.
Yes, I've heard about
Dr.
that
Van
one.
Bessel, he talks about how long-term effects of trauma affect the body, and it's chronic illness, it's anxiety, it's depression, it's a lot of these things. So
All right. So tell them, Shannon, how they can reach out to you with questions or to book that session to get their healing.
Yeah, well, you can find me at www.slsholistics.com. My Instagram is sls.holistics. I would be happy to hear from anybody. I offer free discovery calls. You can book them right on my website, and we can figure out what it is that you need most. Is it emotion code? Is it body code? Is it Reiki? Is it a combo of these things? Because sometimes emotion code is good at pulling out the old energy. Reiki is really good at channeling healing energy in. And so I want to help as many people as possible. These modalities have made such a difference for me and my life, and I've seen the difference they've made for people I work with already. And if this resonates with you in any way, please don't hesitate to reach out.
Yes, please do. So yeah, you've been listening to Leandra, your host of Rise Up. Thank you for tuning in. And remember, you have the power to rise up and make today extraordinary. Stay tuned in for more inspiration and uplifting messages to empower you and fuel your day every Friday at 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.